Preceptor Training, Introduction to Learning Styles and Taxonomies. Welcome to MSU Wilson School of Nursing Preceptor Training. In this lesson, we will encounter a variety of learning styles that contribute to effective learning for adults. Preceptors are educators. More specifically, preceptors are educators of adults who are working toward a goal for licensing as healthcare practitioners. While this is a different task than educating children, there are some consistencies for lifelong learning. First and foremost, all successful education is preceptee or student focused. Engaged preceptors create engaged preceptees. Well-trained preceptors create well-trained preceptees. Prepared preceptors create prepared preceptees. Are you sensing a pattern? Ultimately, preceptors and preceptees are a team working for professional success. In order to teach preceptees well, we must know who they are. Preceptee preparedness to learn depends on the level of education they have already attained, personal factors that contribute to time available to learn and to study, and a plethora of internal and external factors of daily life, while students work toward their degree goal. Each preceptee will be different and will experience different intersections of identity and environment that impact their study and practice. While it's always better to take the time to get to know your preceptee, there are some things preceptors can prepare for that will make this highly individualized reality accessible for a broad community of preceptees. In preparing for specificity, preceptors make the required experience and content accessible for a variety of learners. In the medical profession especially, all kinds of learning will need to be employed throughout one's career. Still, learning in general happens best in the style a preceptee naturally tends toward. Research has identified learning styles that, working together, facilitate learning for individuals. Learners may learn best visually, orally, linguistically, kinesthetically, socially, or in solitary, or in a combination of all of these. It's necessary for preceptors to understand these styles in their most basic sense and to provide opportunities to learn that meet these style needs. Visual learners are spatial learners. They process information taken in through pictures, charts, graphs, tables, and symbols. For a visual learner, the mind associates shapes and photos with ideas. Tools such as infographics help visual learners process large amounts of information quickly. Preceptees who are visual learners should be encouraged to visualize the information through drawing, photos, or other visual aids. Oral learners, or auditory learners, rely on hearing for their acquisition of knowledge. Tools such as recorded lessons, musical references and cues, podcasts, and audiobooks help them process information. An oral learner will seek to close out any other stimuli in favor of hearing in order to arrange their thoughts and may need information repeated for full acquisition. Linguistic learners have long been the more successful learners in higher education. Like it or not, there is a lot of reading to do. However, even reading is not necessarily the best way for linguistic learners to incorporate information. Linguistic learners are helped by tools that spur associative and critical thinking. A word search with the title Word Association with Healthcare and words such as patient, nurse, HIPAA, hospital, physician, will aid a linguistic learner in chunking information together that is related in the way your course intends to relate those terms. A crossword puzzle to develop vocabulary and organize materials can also help a linguistic learner assimilate information successfully. These kinds of games can be powerful learning tools for linguistic learners to process complex information. Logical learners need the element of organization and progression in the content they learn. Mind maps, process lists, step-by-step instructions, timelines, calendars, and case studies are all examples of providing learning opportunities for logical learners. For the logical learner, connection between concepts in time and space is integral. Kinesthetic learners, also sometimes referred to as tactile learners, need to learn by doing. These learners need to physically manipulate their learning activities. Matching exercises, quizzes to test sections of learning as they go, flashcards, poster projects, models, and simulations allow the kinesthetic learner to learn with their body and movement. Social learners have also had a lion's share of experience in education as a whole. Classroom settings are great for the social learner, but what do we do when 90 to 100% of our coursework happens via computer? Bring the content into opportunities for interaction. Solitary learners require reflection as part of their learning experience. Utilizing journals and blogging gives solitary learners the opportunity to control their communications and then determine their own interaction with feedback. Setting very clear goals, objectives, and plans for each module of a course also aids solitary learners as they navigate their content. Self-paced study and content availability also contribute to these learners' ability to learn well. Preceptees may utilize a combination of these learning styles to acquire and retain new information. Preceptors, who are well versed in many styles for learning, can address obstacles to retaining information with tools for better understanding. In doing so, preceptors can model a way in which their preceptees, when practicing, can utilize a variety of tools for educating their patients. The utilization of these learning styles enables preceptors to creatively educate preceptees from the basic knowledge level through comprehension and application all the way through critical thinking. This learning trajectory is known as Bloom's taxonomy of learning domains, outlined by Dr. Benjamin Bloom in 1956. This trajectory of learning survives the ages and is foundational for the education of children and adults. Bloom's taxonomy begins with the lowest level of learning, the acquisition of knowledge. This is the kind of learning that most often happens in a classroom. Students receive information and attempt to retain it. Remembering is the goal of this base level of learning. Next is understanding, a level of learning during which a student is able to recall and establish their understanding of the concept for their teacher. Following understanding is applying. Preceptees in a clinical setting are prepared to begin at the application of knowledge through supervised and gradually independent encounters with patients. The journey to critical processing continues with analysis. Preceptees are expected to be able to analyze the content of their learning in regard to the patients they encounter. Tools for such analysis include patient histories and notes that inform treatment plans in consult with a preceptor. The next level of learning is essential to critical thinking. Evaluation. Evaluation provides the learner with the opportunity to assess their own practice and make changes or affirm trends that support patient care. Finally, with full acquisition and practice of learned content, learners are able to create new content, new research based on experience and evidence, and new paths of patient care. Of course, the fullness of adult learning, learning styles, and the application of Bloom's taxonomy provide libraries of theory and practice for teachers. Still, preceptors' willingness to employ these basics can make all the difference for a talented preceptee to learn the concepts and skills for excellence in practice.